Before I go into the first example 1 tutorial for Carlson Takeoff R7, I want to show the end result and the steps required to produce the end result. As you can see up here, I have a dialog box titled Project Checklist. These are the steps required to get the earthwork volumes for any site inside of Carlson Takeoff. The first step is to define your layer targets. That is your existing in your design, leaving all the other layers in other. The second step is to draw your boundary polyline. And after you've done these two and adequately added barrier lines for your existing and your design so that your surface contours create the same contours that are given to you in the drawing or digitized, you then go to the third step, which is make existing ground surface. The fourth step, make design surface. And then the last step, calculate total volumes. Below here are 4 different approaches to getting earthwork volumes in Carlson Takeoff. The first and most straightforward is method 1, where you simply create either by digitizing or taking and categorizing your existing layers and your design layers, putting in barrier layers for both existing and design as needed, and then within a polyline perimeter make your existing your design, and you get your cut and fill for your site. If I go up here and do zoom window and window up the text here, you can see that the cut and the fill are, cut is 3565 cubic yards, fill is 2882. That's method 1, straight cut and fill. Method 2 is where you include the subbase, that is building subbases, road subbases, sidewalks. The third method is straight cut and fill, include subbases, but then specify polylines for areas of interest where you can break down the job into multiple segments and get a finished earthwork for each area of interest and still get the entire earthwork for the inclusion polyline perimeter. And the last step, method 4, is straight cut and fill, include subbase, areas of interest, and polylines that define your removal and replacement topsoil areas. At this point, I want to show how the project checklist can be completed with the final data that we have here. To start, I'm going to go up to display here and come down and do display options and turn off my cut fill labels and my cut fill color map. Pick OK, and there we have, if I go up to display, I have my design drawing on. If I turn this off, so I have nothing in nothing on the screen. If I go down to display here and turn on existing, there's my existing contours or layers. Turn those off. Come down here, do design again. That turns on all the design layers that were needed to create the design surface. And then if I turn that off and come down and pick other drawing, I can see everything else that was essentially not needed to create my existing surface or my design surface in the drawing. And nothing was erased or lost. I just left everything in the other category. So I come up here and I turn that off. And at this point, I want to come back to the design drawing. And you can see that I've added quite a few 3D polylines through the site. And if you look at this, you can see that I've interpolated elevations along here. And if I come up to elevate here and do edit, assign polyline elevations, pick this, you can see that we have 961.609, and that was interpolated from this 3D polyline across here. I have a contour coming across here at 962, another contour at 963. 964 is at this point, and we have the end point there, 964.6355. So that shows you that I've added elevations there. And also, I've made sure that there are intersects at every location on the actual 2D polylines, so that you can see that there's intersects at that location as there is there. So that at every intersect on the 3D polyline, I made sure that there's an intersect on the 2D contours or the 3D barrier lines where they intersect, that they both share a vertex at that location. Hit escape to get rid of the vertices. Now, one of the things I do before I do my design surface is I actually have the program recalculate and make the contours from these finished grade layers. And that's done by coming up here to display and doing design contours. And just studying the map and making sure that the design contours look the same. As you can see up here, they all look pretty much the same. And the pad looks the same. The pond here looks the same. Building pad looks pretty much the same, and so do the pond over here and the roads coming and the road contours there. So that's one quality control check to make sure everything is looking correct there. I'll turn that off. And now let's go back to Help, Project Checklist, and let's discuss the steps needed to go through to create all these reports right here. So what I want to do first is to go backwards and turn off my topsoil removal replacement polylines. And I'm going to come up here to Takeoff and come up to topsoil removal replacement, come down and do clear topsoil removal polylines. Select, and I'll just type all. Cleared 1. Come down here and do clear topsoil replacement polylines. I'll type all. Cleared 7. Now I have no topsoil replacement removal polylines, so that's remove those. Areas of interest, I want to come up here, and here's areas of interest, and untag areas of interest, and I'm going to type all. And it cleared my areas of interest, so those are cleared. I want to come down here to boundary polyline and do set boundary polyline. And when I pick this, it prompts me and says clear existing boundaries. I'm going to type Y for yes, and I'm going to grab this guy right there. Hit return, and that is my one polyline perimeter. So I come back to Help, Project Checklist, and clearly I've done step number 1 to find my layers ahead of time and my boundary polyline, and now it's time to update my existing surface, my design surface, and calculate total volumes for a straight cut and fill report. Okay, so I have to go up here to Takeoff here, and I have to go to design, and so the report, I said no for material quantities, but I have to adjust target surface by depth. Turn that off. Adjust target. Turn that off. Turn that off. And turn that off. Let's go ahead and save that. Pick exit, and if I go back to the project checklist, you can see it says update those existing in design. So I come down here and do make existing. Done. Come back to Takeoff and do make design. Done. No subbase calculated this time. Now we're going to go down and do calculate total volumes and pick OK. There's my perimeter area, and now we're seeing a total cut and fill of just the existing 2 surfaces. And I'm going to pick OK. I'll pick a point right here. There's 35, 65, And there's 35, 65, 28, 82, and that's the same thing over there. So we'll erase, and there I've shown you how to do roads again. Quick profile from surface. And I'm going to pick a point here, goes into the center of the pond, out here, straight across. Straight across, and then right across the road. Okay. Okay, and notice that we really have two surfaces. If I turn on the other surfaces, nothing is showing up. Topsoil removal, there's nothing there. Subgrade adjust, there's no difference. Final target, there's no difference. It's the design surface and the final target really are one and the same because we haven't put in any subbases. So we have an original ground and design surface, and there it is right there. And you can see that there's the pond right there. We come up here and go across the road. We have the sidewalk, and then we have the building here. We have the sidewalk, come down, and then we have the other pond right there. And then we have this other pad, and then we have this road that we crossed right there. Okay, do exit, and that kind of shows you the first step, method one. Now, include subbases. Let's go back to Takeoff, do define layer surface material subgrade. Go back to design, and let's double pick on building, and we'll just check this right here, and we'll turn back on the earthwork, just target by depth. Okay, we've turned on our 4 right here. This is for material quantity report. This is for subbase quantity report. So I do save, it saves that, and now we're ready to do method 2 on this site right here. And we go back to the project checklist, and you can see that we have, again, after we've changed our material layer, target, and material and subgrade data, we haven't changed our boundary, but we have to redo the existing, the design surface, and then calculate our total volumes. So I pick OK here, and I come back here and do make existing ground surface. It says done. Come down here, do make design surface. Calculating the subgrade. Now, before I go and do calculate volumes, let's go up to Takeoff here, and let's do subgrade areas, and do hatch subgrade areas to see where these subgrade areas are. First one I want to hatch is the building. So I do draw, and that's going to be in red, and that's, of course, the building. Okay. Now, I want to do the deep subbase, and that is where the truck traffic will ride. And if I pick this, this will be a little brownish. Pick OK. And that's where the truck is going to travel. Hit return. And now this, we're going to go to the subbase parking areas. This is going to be a little lighter orange. And those are the areas where the parking strips are going to be. Less subbase. And the truck is not going to be traveling that area. And the last subbase area is the sidewalk. And we pick OK. And you can see those areas right there, the sidewalk, plus we have a little area right here. Okay, I go back to Takeoff, and we're going to do erase subgrade hatch areas. That erases all of them. And now we're going to see what the report, if the report looks similar to this, 58, 52. And we just go up to, if we come back here, go to project checklist, and we have to update the existing and the design again and calculate our total volumes. So let's do that. We come up here, make existing ground surface. design surface. And this is with the sub-bases included. You can see applying building, applying deep sub-base, truck traffic subgrade, sidewalk, and sub-base for parking. That's completed. We come down here and do calculate total volumes and pick OK. And we're having 58, 52, 19, 25, and that's pretty similar to what we had here. Let's do another quick profile just to kind of take a look at it. So we go up to roads here, do quick profile from surfaces, and we're going to go here, straight across. All right. So you can see there's no sub-base or topsoil removal or replacement in this location where the pond is. We come over the road here, you can see there's a sub-base treatment. You can see where the parking lot strips are. There's less sub-base, there's more sub-base where the actual road is. Parking strip up here, we have a little sidewalk, then we have the building, and then we have where the truck traffic and the loading dock is, and there's actually concrete pad there. And then I pan over, and now there's no sub-base treatment at all. Here's the building pad where a future building is going to be potentially, and over here is where the road and a sub-base for truck traffic has been created. So that's pretty much how the sub-base is calculated. Now we want to include areas of interest. So to do this, we're going to keep it pretty simple. Come down to isolate layers, and we're going to isolate that layer right there, and we're just going to go up to view and do layer control, and we're going to come down here and we're going to turn on the building, and we're looking for, there's the sidewalk, here's the road, and was there a parking? There it is, sub-base parking. And that's pretty much the areas that we want to create areas of interest. Actually, not this one right here, just the road. And we're not interested in, well, I'll just close it out. Yeah, we're just interested in creating this as an area of interest, and this sidewalk in this building right there. So let's do areas of interest. So we come down here and we do tag area of interest. Well, the area of interest obviously is the road area. I want to know, so I'm going to say this is road area 1. The exclusion area is no. Hit return to repeat, and we're going to pick the building, and we'll do BLDG area 2, and exclusion area is no. I'm not really too concerned about the sidewalk. We'll skip that. Now, if I want to get the design back, I'll turn everything off and turn the design back on again. And here's the pad area. There's a little polyline they created for the pad area that I left in this layer. You can see it's here. If I hit escape to get rid of the grip handles, it's in this layer here. So we're going to go up to area of interest again, tag area of interest. I'll pick this guy here, and we'll call this pad area 3, and exclusion area, hit return, and here we'll just use this polyline, this contour polyline for the pond 1 area 4, Exclusion area, no. And then the last area that I want to calculate is using, let's see, how about this guy right there? Yeah, we'll use that one there. Let's see, that's 956, that's 957. Let's use 957. So I'll go back to takeoff, area of interest, tag area of interest. We'll pick 957, and we'll do pond 2 underscore area 5. Set exclusion area, nope. And now we're ready to do method 3. So let's go back to the project checklist, and it says everything is calculated. That's interesting, except that we're going to add these areas of interest. So we're just going to go down here. Nothing's really changed from method number 2. All the subbases are still correct. We're just going to add areas of interest in this. So I go up here, tag, come down here. I'm just going to do calculate total volumes one more time. Change nothing here. There's the entire polyline perimeter. Now it's doing the building area, the pad area, the pond 1, the pond 2 area, and the road area, which consists of both truck traffic and parking lot area. So you can see that we still have the same cut and fill volumes, and now we come down and it gives us a cut and fill volume for the building area, mostly fill. Then we have the pad area, mostly fill. And then we have the pond 1 area, mostly cut. And we have the pond 2 area, which is mostly cut. And then the last area, which is the road area, and that's almost all cut, interestingly. So we hit exit, and that's this report here. And then the last thing we want to do is include topsoil removal areas. And how do we want to do that? Well, we know that all the subbase areas are going to be removed because it's either concrete or macadam. So we're going to go up to View here and do Isolate Layers. We're going to isolate the perimeter, which is where all the topsoil removal is going to be. And we're going to grab that, red, grab the yellow, and hit return. Now we got the sidewalk and the concrete pad areas, but we need the road where so we're missing that. So the only thing we're missing is the road. So I'm going to go up to layer control here, pick here, hit R for road, thaw that, and there you have it. And now we're ready to do the topsoil removal and replacement areas. So I go up here. So we've done boundary polyline, we've done areas of interest, we've done subgrade areas, but we haven't done topsoil removal and replacement yet. And we're going to first do define topsoil depths. And I'm going to use what I have in here before. The removal depth will be 1 foot for the entire location. The replacement will only be half a foot. The removal swell factor will be 10%, 1.1, and the replacement shrink factor will be 0.95. Perpendicular to surface is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to pick OK. So that defines globally all the areas. I could have done custom, but I'm just going to do it globally. Go back here, come back to topsoil removal, and now we're going to come down here and do set topsoil removal polylines. And I'm going to use the define, that is the global definition, not the custom. Hit return, and it says select the topsoil removal perimeter. That's the entire removed area. So before the job starts, they're going to remove the topsoil using this polyline perimeter. And that is done. Now we're going to go back to takeoff, do topsoil removal replacement, and come down here and do topsoil replacement polylines. So I pick this, and I'm going to again use the global definition, and now it says select topsoil replacement, and I'm going to pick this guy here. I'm going to pick this right away. Now notice that I don't want to pick this curb area because that's also in the right of way area. So, and I'm just going to pick this guy here, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Hit enter. And I'm done. Now you're going to say, well, what did I just do? Well, by picking both the inclusion and the exclusion areas at the same time, if I hatch it, you'll see that it will show me where the topsoil replacement is going to occur. So I come down here and I do hatch topsoil replacement area, pick OK, and you can see that it's not going to replace topsoil where the road is, where the building is, where the sidewalk is, and these little concrete pads here on the side of the building. But everywhere else, it's going to replace a half a foot of topsoil. Okay, so at this point, I can officially go to erase topsoil hatch, and we're pretty much ready for the last step. If you want to get all the contours back, just turn them off and turn them back on again, so you get the design surface back on again. And we're ready to do the last report, which is straight cut and fill, but include subbase, include areas of interest, and include topsoil removal replacement areas. And we're going to come back to help, project checklist. You can see done. We need to update the existing, the design, and calculate the total volumes. So at this point, I come up to takeoff, and I do calculate total volumes. No, I do make existing. Notice it says applying topsoil removal 1 foot. So we didn't see that before. Come down to make design. It's making the design, applying deep subbase subgrade. After the building, then the sidewalk, then the subbase parking. And now it's applying the topsoil replacement of a half a foot. And it's done. This time we come up here to takeoff, come down to calculate total volumes. Just pick OK. And there's the total area. There's the building area of it, point area of interest, the pad area of interest, upon 1 area of interest, upon 2 area of interest, and the road area of interest. And there we go. And now the site is almost balanced yet again, except that we have, you can see, almost 5,000 cubic yards of topsoil removal, and in about 3 acres, and then we have about 1,000 cubic yards of topsoil replacement over just 1.29 acres. Topsoil export volume is 4,000, almost 4,000 cubic yards, and it's all topsoil. Can be used elsewhere. And here we have cut volume and we have fill volume, and then we have the areas of interest broken down. Almost all fill in the building area. Pad area is almost all fill. Next pond area is almost all cut. Pond 2 is almost all cut, and of course the road at the bottom is mostly cut, little fill. And that's the end of this movie, except that I want to go back to display and come back here and do cut fill labels. And come back here and do cut fill color map. And that kind of brings it back full circle back to my original screen, showing you that once you have the existing and the design surfaces created to your approval, and that they mimic the same contours given to you that you either digitized or given to you in the drawing, you will have a accurate cut fill map with subbase, areas of interest, and topsoil removal and replacement. And I'm going to come up here and zoom window, and we'll just window up this area right there. And you can see that the existing is in cyan, the design is in magenta, and the cut or the fill is, which is red or blue, is the third label there. And that pretty much ends my example, first example 1 Carlson Takeoff R7 tutorial to demonstrate the 5 steps necessary to generate the earthwork volumes, and using these 4 different reports. And that is method 1, just straight cut and fill, no subbase or areas of interest or topsoil removal replacement. Method 2 is cut and fill with subbase. Method 3 is cut and fill with subbase and areas of interest. And the last is cut and fill with subbase, areas of interest, and topsoil removal and replacement. So that ends this first movie showing the 5 steps to compute volumes using the project checklist.